Strategic Metals is a project generator. We focus principally on the Yukon territory because we have a lot of information, both data and personal information in that jurisdiction. We've been quite successful over the last 20 years building an enormous portfolio of projects. Currently we have 96 wholly owned projects, some of which are under option. In addition to that, we have 12 NSR royalty interests in other projects. So I think we're in pretty good shape, well financed, about $2.4 million in the treasury, and a large portfolio of other shares in other companies, which give us about another $34 million of potential liquidity. At the present time, Strategic Metals has just slightly under 111 million shares outstanding, a little over 9 million options outstanding, no warrants, which bring us to about 120 million for round numbers for fully diluted. And no debt, and as I said before, about 2.4 million in the treasury. We have a very mixed following. We do definitely have a retail following, but we have some important investment groups that are partners as well with us. Insiders own a little over between 8 and 9% of the outstanding shares. Obviously grows substantially with the options. In addition to that, Condir, a boutique brokerage group an investment group out of Denver, has a little over 17%. Sprott Gold a little under 9%, and Rufford just a little under 10%. Yukon territory is a very unusual jurisdiction. Obviously it's had a long history, starting with the Klondike Gold Rush. That's prompted a real wave of exploration, but because of its remote location, it didn't really pick up again until the 1990s. And we saw a tremendous regional scale exploration at that time, which led to some very exciting discoveries. But again, we were remote, and many of those projects didn't go into production. The consulting group that I worked with for 50 years, Archer Catherine Associates, began their operations in 1965. I ran the company from about 1990 until just about a year ago. So during that time period, we built huge databases of both regional and property information. And we've been able to use those databases to identify very prospective projects that, for one reason or another, fell out of favor. Sometimes the key people behind them disappeared. Other times the companies decided to redirect their energies away from Yukon. Sometimes companies just made mistakes and let good ground fall. So we were able to step in and pick up claims at times when maybe other parties weren't interested, didn't have the financing to make the acquisitions, and then hold on to them until the market was a little bit more robust and we could do good deals on them. It's really important to us that I've been able to use my personal experience, and we took advantage of a quiescent period that occurred during land claims negotiations and the devolution of authorities for mineral resources from the federal government to the territorial government. That occurred sort of in the 90s and early 2000s. And because of that, Yukon didn't receive the type of modern geophysical, geochemical, and drilling exploration that nearby jurisdictions did. And so when things picked up again, we were very quickly able to capitalize on those new exploration techniques and what people had learned in adjoining areas where the same mineral belts extended into Yukon, but really hadn't been explored to the same degree. A project generator compared to a single focused company, which most exploration companies are, it's more of I like to think it was more of a business and less of a speculation. We always look to acquire projects cheaply. We're operating in a jurisdiction that has some of the cheapest land holding costs of any place in the world, so we're able to assemble a strong portfolio and maintain it over time. We make very judicious exploration expenditures to gradually build our portfolio so that it becomes stronger and better over time. If a project disappoints, we let the claims go, but we're always looking to add new ones if they come available. It's all about risk management, the gradual, patient building up of capital and reinvestment of that capital in a way that continues to build shareholder value. We do have the chance of a one-time wonderful success. For example, we were one of the largest shareholders of Attack Resources when they made a discovery in the Rackla Belt. Investment that we made for, literally cents, 16, 17 cents per share, went to $10 a share. So even though we're not focused on that type of discovery type situation, it can sometimes evolve even without having, risking the capital for that expensive drilling ourselves. And to answer the question about which projects are most exciting, there's such a wealth of good projects in the company. I can't point to any one specifically, but I'll point to some belts. We have very substantial land holdings still in the Tombstone Gold Belt, which is evolving to be one of the most important gold belts in North America. Of course, Victoria Gold's operating its Eagle Mine. Banyan Gold has found over 6 million ounces in just the last couple of years alone from a cold start. Keno Hill has been reactivated with Hecla's purchase of that claim block, and perhaps most importantly, Snowline has made one of the most important gold discoveries in the last 10 or 15 years in North America. So we really think we've got some valuable assets there. In addition to that, we've been able to use our expertise in porphyries to acquire a very strong portfolio of porphyry projects, some of which are under option or being explored by others with some pretty positive results. And because of our long history and what I consider to be ridiculous patience, we've assembled a really diverse portfolio of critical metals, which with the new interest in critical metals has become really topical all of a sudden, and so we've been able to do some deals related to them as well. Yeah, Blue Thunder is a project that involves 11 of our critical metals projects. I think it's going to come to conclusion here fairly soon. They just recently made a $50,000 payment to us to extend the life of that project, to give them a little more time to pull it together. When it happens, we'll receive 19.9% of their stock after they've completed a very sizable financing, and we'll be retaining a royalty interest in each of those projects. We're also working on another critical metals deal and quite frankly, some other possible transactions related to the gold project. So there's lots on the plate, and hopefully we'll be building our NSR portfolio in the next few months. Going forward, we're at a really critical point in the company's history. We've got what I would say 3 of the most exciting single projects that we're involved with, all coming to fruition pretty much simultaneously. And our basic business model is robust at the same time. So specifically, in the next 6 months, I think you're going to see a very robust pre-feasibility coming out of Rockhaven Resources, who we own almost 30% of. I think it's going to show that that project is not only economic, but very economic. It's something that has the potential to significantly grow the value of our share portfolio, and I think single-handedly exceed our current market cap. So that's important, and it's the lead-in to permitting for them. So it's a very, very important step. Simultaneously, in the first quarter of next year, we expect Terra CO2, a company that we've got a sizable share position in, is working on alternatives to Portland cement, to have their first commercial plant in operation. So that's a big deal. It could lead actually to cash flow for us, or they may have a go public event that could create some nice liquidity for us. Third situation, is a company called Broden Mining. It's a private company. We're working in partnership with Ross River Denny Council to try to redevelop the old Faro mining district in Yukon. When Faro was in production back in the 70s through into the 90s, it was by far the largest largest mine ever to operate in Yukon. It was 30 to 60% of Yukon's GDP at that time, and less than half of the ore that was defined in that belt has ever been mined. So If we are able to conclude that transaction, we're looking to put that mining camp back into production, first proving its viability and then moving it back into production. So that, again, that's pretty exciting. We own over 30% of Broden as well. So if they're successful, we will be successful. And then finally, I mentioned the business model. I think that we're going to be able to do a lot of deals in the next little while. Companies are looking for a wide variety of projects, and I think we've got some in critical locations. I think that the pricing is right. We've always looked for ways to do deals, and I think that there isn't a lot in the pipeline at the present time. So I think that it's the right market conditions for our model to work very successfully. So with those three highlight or drivers in place, I think we're looking forward to a good year next year.